A generation growing up around violence.
Starting to take the wrong path in life.
Using guns instead of their words.
Community members are concerned.
They're getting younger and younger and younger, and some of the shooters are younger. Where are they getting the guns from?
Herb Dickinson says that youth in the Charlottesville, Albemarle areas are in need of the community support now more than ever. Chief Michael Kochis brought this up at a recent forum that CPD held for the community, sharing raw data from this year's shootings.
We are averaging 1 shooting call for service a day. We've had 30 in the last 30 days.
Where are these kids getting these guns?
Chief Kochis says that kids are using gun violence more often in fights.
Most of our shots fired calls that we're seeing, typically teenagers, between neighborhood beefs and to settle conflicts.
ACPD says that they've seen a rise in gun violence and car thefts among teens this year.
We have seen a spike in crimes involving juveniles, specifically gun violence, violent crimes.
At the City of Promise, a group dedicated to community support, the executive director says the problem has accelerated in recent years.
I think the pandemic has really exacerbated kids' sense of loneliness, isolation, desperation. And I think that is probably playing just as much a factor as the economic factors that play into it.
At the CPD forum, community members voiced their concerns.
How did we get here? We have young children, young men, young teenagers with guns, and they can't even spell.
What are we actively willing to do to interact and engage with specifically our young people?
Let's not be judging them like y'all lived through this that they living through. Y'all ain't never lived through this before.
Numerous organizations are working to be the change that the next generation needs.
We started Wartime Fitness because I was, a misunderstood youth when I was coming up, from when we grew up in the rough neighborhoods that we grew up in an environment that we was in.
Some say that the community can't accept the status quo.
We should get away from getting numb, becoming numb to the violence in this community. My children shouldn't feel numb to something that I feel numb to. We should be able to have those conversations amongst our families that this is not okay, that we should not be experiencing or dealing with this.
Hudson also says the city government could contribute more to the solution by providing youth programs such as police academies, city manager academies, and work programs.
And I think we have to be more solution focused. We know what the problems are in Charlottesville. They're very systemic.
Investing time and resources into those who need it most, giving them a chance for change without the need for violence.
And we'd rather send kids to college instead of, behind bars.
Coleman says it's important to invest in the leaders of tomorrow.
Children are the future of a community, and every child that lives here will eventually be our doctor or our server or a teacher of our grandchildren. And so all of us have a long-term reason to invest in children today.
People who were once in the position want to show the youth that there's more to life and give them the opportunity to better themselves.
Because some of these kids don't even have a purpose, or they think their only option is the streets or is violence. That's not the only answers.
When it comes to juveniles on the streets, a large question remains. Where are these kids getting a hold of guns? CPD, ACPD, and UPD are all working together to find those answers.
We're going to have to come up with strategies to try to address that. But like we've talked about tonight, we can't do it alone.
We know that a lot of the participants in these crimes, know no boundaries.
But it's going to be hard work, because like any community in America, we're dealing with issues of crime.
Standing with a community that wants to see a change.
It's going to take a village and resources to pave the way. For CBS19 News, I'm Alexia Williams.
And I'm Gretchen Stinger.